Husker Sports Network programming begins in 3 minutes. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 2 minutes. And this is our final time check. The network will go silent for the final 1 minute. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 1 minute.
$20 seconds. $15. 10 away. 5 seconds. Anytime.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Coody. Here's tonight's headlines. The Nebraska men's basketball non-conference schedule released today. The 11-game slate highlighted by 9 games inside Pinnacle Bank Arena, with the season opener set for Tuesday, November 9th against Western Illinois, the start of a 7-game season opening homestand. To go along with the matchups with Auburn and NC State announced previously, the Huskers also began a 3-year series with Kansas State on December 19th inside PBA. Nebraska soccer announced the full schedule for the 2021 season. In addition to the 10 Big Ten games, the Huskers will also play 8 non-conference games. Nebraska will host 2 exhibition games, which will be free attendance to fans on August 11th and 13th. And the season will get underway with the opener against Western Illinois on August 19th inside Hebner Stadium. Nebraska track and field head coach Gary Pepin announced a new addition to the coaching staff today. Nikki Larch-Miller will serve as the multi-events coach. Larch-Miller comes most recently from Eastern Illinois, where she was the assistant track coach since 2019. The NBA Finals gets underway tonight between the Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks, 8 o'clock on ABC. The Bucks looking to claim their first title since 1971, while the Suns will be in pursuit of the first championship in franchise history. Breaking news within the last hour, U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson has been left off the Olympic roster released by USA Track and Field. The news coming after her win at the U.S. Olympic trials was nullified after a positive marijuana test. Expected to have a chance to compete for gold, this means she will not be a part of the 4x100 meter relay in Tokyo. And the match taking place right now on TNT between Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady and Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers. DeChambeau and Rodgers currently up 1 through 5, and that's tonight's headlines.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game one. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game one of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, into this Tuesday edition of Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody. Hope you enjoyed your 4th of July holiday. If you missed us last night because you were wrapping up 4th of July celebrations, we have got a big show coming up for you today. Coming up at 6:25, we've got Nebraska wrestling head coach Mark Manning on to talk a little Jordan Burroughs. He's got a big send-off party coming up on Wednesday. And in the second hour, we've got a fun conversation with assistant men's basketball coach Armand Gates. So you want to stick around for that. And got lots to talk about today. And if you missed us again last night, we've got Greg Sharpe on vacation for the next couple of weeks. So helping us out, filling in, is Bill Dolman, a guy you probably have been familiar with if you've been around Nebraska for a while. Graduated from here, got your start here, had a couple of different stints here. So welcome back to Lincoln.
Great for having me back another night. I'm glad I may have passed the test, or like I did with many of my classes in college, I took it pass, no pass, and just skated by so I could continue on. But it's great to be back and great to be so close to the greater Fairbury metropolitan area, my hometown. Of course, Kansas is a suburb of Fairbury, so it's good to be back home. This is home.
Yeah, and we got a fun show coming up. A couple of really fun guests I'm excited about. But we just heard the announcement of the non-conference schedule for men's basketball. Gotta love when those news headlines come out, give us something to talk about on a Tuesday night.
Especially when it's the college basketball season, because I think most people look back at last year and go, okay, for everybody, 2021 is forgettable and somewhat forgivable when you go 7-20 or 7-25, whatever Nebraska did. Was not a great season, but Nebraska had some momentum, showed a lot of promise, and I think people still certainly believe in what Fred Hoiberg is doing. They love his staff, and Armand Gates is terrific, and then they see 5-star recruits coming in. It's like, all right, these guys look pretty good. Who are we going to play? What's the schedule going to be look like, and what are my tickets going to be worth? And when you see K-State and Auburn and Creighton and North Carolina State, not all of those are home games, but those are great marquee games before the first of the year in conference play.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing with basketball, you can turn things around quickly, a little bit quicker than you can in other sports, here or there. And you're going to hear when we talk to Coach Gates, just the buy-in that they really saw from this team really towards the end of last season when they kind of started to gel a little bit, carried over into summer workouts. They've been having a lot of great participation just in the weight room, but also pickup ball and whatnot. So you can turn things around in a hurry when in basketball.
Is it not basketball season? Is it ever not basketball season?
No,
it seems
it's
like
not.
They're always
it's year-round
together.
now.
They're always working out. You always hear some news about something going on during off-season workouts or conditioning. But I think when people take a look at the recruits that Fred Hoiberg and his staff have started to attract and go after. And then when you see a Bryce McGowan's a 5-star guy, I'm not big on recruiting services and stars and numbers, but nevertheless, when you see that and somebody from SEC country believing in his brother, what his brother bought into, and he wants to be a part of that, that's a great message for everybody, for other recruits, for the team that's here, for the coaching staff, and for the fans. that this is a great place to be and be a part of as it begins to grow the program. And how great is it going to be to have Pinnacle Bank Arena open for everybody once again to see 14, 15,000 people there. That's going to be critical to the success this year.
Yeah, and with Coach Hoiberg and his background in the NBA, that's a selling point because every recruit, regardless of what star you are, the goal is to make it to the NBA. So with his system, how it translates to the next level, that's a big selling point as well for guys to want to come here and be groomed in a way to be set up to make a mark in the NBA.
Well, and when you have the games that they're going to have in the non-conference season, in addition to the conference, all those games are on BTN or wherever they're going to be. But when you're playing non-conference games that are going to be showcased in November and December against the teams I mentioned, people are going to get an early glimpse as to what that offense is like. What does it look like now that it's in year number 3? And how good are these players going to be, and what brand of basketball are we going to see in 2021 and 2022? So people are going to get a really good idea pretty quick as to how good this team is going to look and how good this team is going to be. And I think toward the end of last year we got a pretty good idea. Nebraska wasn't exactly a pushover, despite having only 7 wins on the year. You got into February and March where people are going, I don't think I really want to play them right now.
For sure.
No carryover.
Let's break down some of the games. So a couple of exhibition games to start. October 27th, Peru State, and then Colorado, a charity exhibition, October 31st. But then a 7-game homestand to kick this thing off starting on November 9th. And then you got Creighton, which I know you're dying to talk about.
Come on, I still don't get it. I don't understand it. How is it that I can understand a balanced rivalry, and I know that that's their emphasis and everything, but year in and year out, it's got to change. I mean, there's got to be the balance of power changing in this state when it comes to hoops and Hoiberg. Come on.
Yeah, so that's November 16th, and then you got a few more at home before the game at NC State, which we've talked about previously, could be a big, booster when you talk about the net rankings, as well as the game against Auburn, which will be in Atlanta, Georgia. And then December 19th, Kansas State comes to Lincoln, and then you wrap it all up December 22nd against Kennesaw State. So you've got Creighton circled immediately because you've been talking about it all day since we released the schedule. But that's one that I'm actually looking forward to because I think that's when I'm going to be able to get a first glimpse of how rockin' PBA can be. Because you've talked about how rowdy it can be, those crowds, for that game.
I think it just surprises people when they come to Nebraska and they think, okay, this is a football state, nobody cares about basketball. And that could not be farther from the truth. And I remember days at the Devaney Center in the 80s and in the Danny 90s when that was not an easy place to play at all. And I know we were battling to get into the NIT, but nevertheless, when people were jazzed about a game, when Kansas would come to town, when Norm Stewart would bring his Tigers to town, and Billy Tubbs would bring his Sooners to town, the place was packed. And it kind of goes back to what I talked about last night with Oklahoma football and Nebraska football and the rivalry. Some of those people, some of those coaches, especially Norm Stewart, hated to love and loved to hate. Johnny Orr at Iowa State, everybody loved Johnny Orr. But people would fill the place, and it got loud. And fortunately, they have been able to bottle that up and move it over to PBA. And that same enthusiasm and the same atmosphere is a big difference maker.
Anymore, scheduling can kind of be a little intricate. You got to be strategic about how you do it as well, especially when you play in a conference like the Big Ten, when you're going to take some lumps. But with the net rankings and getting some opponents in there, some wins in there, some quality wins, some road trips, which they did, but then also, building some confidence moving forward. Hopefully racking up some wins there before you go take on Auburn and go to NC State. I think it was a well-designed schedule for this team. Yeah,
I'm a little surprised the Creighton game is as early as it is, November 16th. You think it might be a little closer to December or something where there's a little more intention being played to basketball and not just the end of the football season, but got to play it when they got it, and that's when they could get them, and that game has to be played. But, Auburn just is a couple years removed from being, what were they? They were in the Final Four. I can't remember if they were in the NCAA title game or not, but they're in the Final Four. And NC State, ebbs and flows, and I think they've had a couple of decent seasons. And in Kansas State, I think it's good to have. This is the start of a 3-year series with K-State, so that's good to have something with the former Big 8, Big 6, maybe even Missouri Valley rival. I think it probably goes back that far, so that'll be kind of fun to have those games back on the slate for a couple of years. Auburn,
a very young team, but they're in a few way too early rankings, top 25, right there around that top 25 mark. So, depending on what they do kind of out the gate, that you're looking at potentially a top 25 matchup, which could be huge on the resume builder as well. I should also mention that if you're a season ticket holder, be on the lookout for an email from the Nebraska Ticket Office this week about how to renew those season tickets coming up for this season, and it should be a good one. There's some fun matchups, and then always the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's important that the fans are going to be able to take a look at this schedule and go, okay, I think I might get some bang for my buck.
Yeah.
So
7 in a row to start, not bad.
Yeah, I'm in. You're not playing those teams that feature you and me on them on the roster. Although you're probably pretty good. Coming from a basketball background.
Well, yes, I played growing up. Yeah. I can shoot it a little bit. Yeah,
I scored double figures once.
Don't challenge me to a 3-point shooting contest. I'll just put that out there right now.
Yeah.
I tore both my ACLs playing in a street ball tournament, which my dad and brother tell me not to tell people, but that's all right. How about the match? This is pretty fun.
It is fun. Yeah, that is great, made for TV, and nobody's better at it than Phil Mickelson.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah. I mean, he needs to hang up the clubs and get into the booth and take over for Faldo or whomever NBC has on the he's just so – this is made for TV, and Phil Mickelson is made for TV. It's been terrific.
Who are you going for in this matchup? DeChambeau and Rogers or Brady and Mickelson?
I just because of Phil is such an endearing guy in this deal. And, you'd like to see Tom Brady try and win something. Just once. Just some good fortune.
I know, right?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers has only won, one Super Bowl? And, Tom Brady needs. Did you see Tom Brady's golf ball?
No.
It has all of the Roman numerals of all of his Super Bowl championships on it. So basically it takes up the entire golf ball.
He would. You said Charles was saying that Tom Brady's the best athlete in history.
Yeah, the greatest athlete. Not just the greatest quarterback.
Not just the greatest football player, the greatest athlete ever.
I think that might be up for debate.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know if a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, well, greatest QB, okay, I'll go with that. But I'm guessing if you lined him up in a 40-yard dash or had some type of superstars competition like ABC had back in the 70s and 80s, I don't think Tom Brady's going to be the one that's going to win like Kyle Rote Jr. did all the time, and Wayne Grimditch, the water skier. I don't think Tom Brady's the greatest athlete.
Well, make sure you're joining us here today. You can hit us up on the text or phone call line at 402-413-2400. We love for you guys to get involved. Give us your comments if you got any questions for Coach Manning coming up shortly. Our Sports Nightly hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. We got to step aside for our first break, but up shortly, any moment now, we are expecting Coach Manning to be walking in the door. We're going to talk all things Nebraska wrestling. Keep it here. You're listening to Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
You're clear.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Buick GMC and find your next vehicle. Our knowledgeable sales team is eager to help you find a vehicle. Plus, get you on the road faster with our streamlined sales and buying process that you can start online. New Buick and GMC models with the features you want at a smart price. Visit our indoor showroom or shop online anytime at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Experience the difference and shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's best value colleges. And the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
30 seconds, 30.
Back to adventures in technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero.
20 seconds.
But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed.
Already 10 away, 10
Tip
seconds.
of the hat to Marco, and our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx
5 away.
background. For more
Here
successful
we come.
IT adventures, go to
1.
marconet.com.
Anytime.
And welcome back to Sports Nightly this Tuesday evening. I'm Jessica Coody. Joining me is Bill Dolman and a very special guest as Nebraska head wrestling coach Mark Manning literally ran up the stairs to make it during that break. You caught your breath yet?
He's in good shape.
Yeah.
Had to get the sprint work in, yeah.
Sprinting up the stairs.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so you guys are planning a pretty big event for a pretty special athlete, to say the least. Jordan Burroughs, you got a big send-off event coming up tomorrow night. Kind of tell fans a little bit about that. Yeah,
you know, Jordan and his family, Lauren, and his 3 children. He's got 1 on the way. So, you know, Jordan has been at Nebraska for 15 years, 5 as a student athlete, obviously, winning 2 national titles, and then he made his first world team in 2011, won a world title, and really the rest is history. Made 9 straight world and Olympic teams. And so he's been training at Nebraska, living at Nebraska. Nebraska's been his home, and after 2020, it was, you know, kind of in the plan for him to move to Philadelphia because he's only 20 minutes from his hometown, and he wants to start kind of the next phase of his life. And his mom and dad wanted to see those grandkids bad too. So his dad, it was a funny story, called me up last year. This is before COVID, a few months before COVID, and said, "Coach, finally, I get my boy back." He says, I told you 14 years ago, hey, he's all yours for these next 5 years. I didn't mean a lifetime. and it's great. He's a consummate pro, obviously, and we wanted to have Husker fans wish him goodbye. And Jordan said, hey, let's do something in public, and rail yard would be a good way to, good place to do that. And Jordan and Lauren and the gang are going to be down there, and we're going to do a little video at the Cube and have fun and get Jordan up there talking and do a little Q&A maybe. Really, it's just about the fans and people reaching out to Jordan, probably for his last time, even though in the fall he will be one of the inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame this October.
So it starts at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
And I'm reading here, he posted a tweet. I mean, going to have raffles and giveaway prizes. So in addition to just celebrating one of the all-time Husker greats, you also have a chance to win some cool prizes, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's gonna sign. He's got a bunch of. He's sponsored by ASICS, kind of the enemy of Adidas, but
not for that night.
Yeah, not for tomorrow. But he's gonna sign a bunch of Jordan Burroughs wrestling shoes and some other memorabilia, and kind of have it for raffle it off. And he wants to really kind of give back to our program.
Very cool.
Could we just say, Jordan, you're welcome to come back anytime. I know you're moving to Philadelphia and you're building your programs out there and trying to get things going in Camden and Philly, but the door is probably always open to come back to Lincoln anytime that you want to.
Absolutely. I know our administration actually tried to hire him, but Jordan has, other plans. He wants to continue to wrestle through 2024, and so he's been training really hard, actually every day, to make the world team this fall, and there's a world championship in October, so he's really got his eyes set on that, and really, looking forward to just building his legacy.
Is it possible to put into words what? Let me ask you, and a two-part to this. What has he meant to Nebraska wrestling? But people around here know him as a Husker.
Yeah.
But in the global sense, what has Jordan Burroughs meant to the sport of wrestling for the United States and beyond?
Yeah, Bill, great question. Really, I'll answer the last part of it because even on the Big Red Blitz, I kind of talked a little bit about Jordan, one of the places either at Alliance or Scotts Bluff, but Jordan is the most recognizable wrestler in the world. So we were in Kazakhstan a couple of years ago for the World Championships. I always say I've been at a lot of stands, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. Anyway, a lot of places that we all want to go on vacation, right? But we're at Kazakhstan, and the workout area before the tournament started was about a half a mile away, and me and Brian Schneider and Tyler Berger was his training partner, and Jordan were walking across this big major highway, and cars just suddenly started pulling over. Jordan Burroughs, Jordan photos, and I mean but that's kind of how it is in international tournaments. When Jordan wrestles abroad, he's a superstar. And is he a superstar because he's a champion? Yes, but also just how he handles himself. He handles himself with class. He's a consummate pro, and just how he I don't know, I should say treats his opponents, because he tries to smash those guys, but but I think it's just the way he handles himself as a great champion, and people recognize that and just see what kind of heart he has, and not only as a competitor, but the heart for people and other people. He takes his time to sign autographs and just goes out of his way for the young people, and just he's really, the poster child for USA Wrestling. And so he's really, when Jordan came into success in 2011, he was the first world champion in about 6 years for USA Wrestling, and that belief and that confidence he instilled in others around him, and it just magnified. Now we're considered one of the best countries in wrestling in the world. So Jordan is really a lot of credit to him and his leadership.
Could you have imagined that when you were recruiting him that it was going to lead to all of that?
No way, man. It's just never know. That's sometimes, we've been fortunate at Nebraska. Has some guys, you talk, I heard the radio show going on about 5 stars, and sometimes the 5 stars turn out great, and sometimes they turn out like a 1 star.
And 1 stars turn out like 5 stars.
Yeah, absolutely. So recruiting is not a perfect science to that, but Jordan was kind of like one of those guys, and just bought into the culture, and really, became what he is today. And really, it's he's really proud to be a Husker, and he's just really happy for our team and our guys and the success our guys have had.
What has that meant, though, to have him in the room for the last 10 15 years? And I remember, I'd done some stuff as Jessica, was down in Oklahoma, did some stuff with Lou Roselli, and he was trying to get an Olympic training, center, Olympic training affiliation, so that some of the bigger names in wrestling would be working out in Norman.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've had that with Burroughs and Green and Burroughs, and those guys knowing that they're here, that when they come to work out here, well, they must develop you pretty well at Nebraska. And so what's that meant to you?
It's been really, we've been really fortunate that way, and it's just a blessing, and really that spread down to our other guys, about, a month and a half ago, Peyton Robb and Mikey Labarola, both current Huskers. Peyton's a sophomore and Mikey's a junior, and both of those guys made the University World Team, which they'll compete in early November next year. And it's a big honor, and Mikey, both those guys work out. Peyton work out a lot with Jordan, and so, and they've worked out with James a lot too. So it's really, that trickle down effect is huge, and that's big for our program. And there's been a lot of young men drawn to our program by those guys' success for sure. And I just try to get out of the way and make sure it happens.
For Jordan, he's talked about, the last couple goes at it, been a little bit disappointing, didn't make the team this year, came up short of gold the last go around. But he said he's not done. His journey with USA Wrestling is not done yet. What's your belief in him that he can get back and do whatever it is that he hopes to do?
Yeah, he in 2018 and 2019 he was bronze both times, which is really hard to just medal, period. But one match and both times he lost to the Russian, and the guy took him down at 4 seconds left of the match, which seems like, how could that happen? It's just the margin of error is really small, and the next year happened in Kazakhstan. Same kind of thing. About 8 seconds left. Jordan tried to hold him off, just wasn't as aggressive as he normally was, and the guy nipped him, and just heartbreaking. But that's just sports. Sometimes Michael Jordan didn't always make the shot. He made the 3rd, 4th, 5th shot, but he might have missed 4 more in a row and then went on a roll. So I think Jordan he's got the savviness and the moxie to come back, and definitely he's learned from those mistakes, and he's wanting to be a world champion again.
And what about an Olympic champion again? I guess if there's a silver lining to what happened this past spring with him not making it to the Tokyo Olympics, and if anybody had been ready for a year ago, it would have been him to make a return. So he doesn't make it this year, but the next games are 3 years away. So there's a real quick turnaround for him to perhaps get some momentum for the games in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. That's the game. That's the game plan there, Bill. Exactly. He's, the guy he lost to in the Olympic trial finals, Kyle Dake, was a 4-time NCAA champion. First wrestler ever in NCAA history to win 4 weight classes at 4 different weight classes. 4-time NCAA champion for Cornell, and he's been a 2-time world champion. So he didn't lose to too bad of a guy. Kyle Dake he's a stud. He's really good, and he's been a 2-time world champion, up a weight class from Jordan. He came down to Jordan's weight because it's an Olympic weight, and he lost 2 tight matches, and so you just move on. That's what sports teaches us is, and I think Jordan's been really a great example of just put it behind you, learn from it, and move on and grow from it.
Right.
Coach, I'm sure we could talk, spend the rest of the 2 hours talking about Jordan Burroughs and what he's meant to you guys, but we got to take a quick break. But we want you to stick around and talk about your current team. You got a lot of guys coming back. I know big things this summer for your team, so we want to chat with you a little bit about that. So we got to take a quick break, though, here on Sports Nightly. It's brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You're clear.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact. Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Back to adventures in technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is dangling from a mountain of open IT tickets, ready to plunge into the abyss of overtime. But wait! It's Marco's Managed IT to the rescue with a lifeline of 24/7 network and user support. Our IT hero is saved! A quick selfie with Marco's Managed IT team, and our hero is back to work. For more successful Managed IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
30 seconds.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire
20
Ford
seconds.
lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies,
10
room
seconds,
to fit
10.
the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you
5,
covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on
2,
the right vehicle for
1.
you.
Anytime.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by Bill Dolman, and we're chatting with Nebraska head wrestling coach Mark Manning. Jordan Burroughs having a big send-off coming up on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock down at the Rail Yard, so make sure you show up for that. But, Coach, we spent all last segment talking about Jordan and wanted to talk to you about your current team. You had an announcement recently, just last week, a couple weeks ago, that all of your seniors are coming back. They had the option after the COVID year to be able to come back. You feel like some of them have some unfinished business they want to accomplish?
That's the perfect word for it, Jessica. Yeah, unfinished business for sure. You know, Liam Cronin, you know, our 125-pounder is he had a tremendous season, kind of a little bit like our program. We had a great season. We were 8-1, and Liam was a big part of that. And then, you know, the bottom kind of fell out the NCAA tournament. And Liam, you know, he dominated. Actually, two of the guys who ended up being All-Americans, the young man from Minnesota and the Wisconsin guy. And but Liam, he wasn't one of those 8 guys. And so sometimes that happens. I think, you know, Liam's going to have a great year. He's had a great off season so far, and he's really focused on you know, changing that up. So excited for him. And then C.J. Redd is you know, been a 4-time All-American for us. He's coming back for his extra year, and C.J., he needs to really step up and be a leader for us from the standpoint of being more of a team guy. And he is. He loves his team, but he's got another level in himself to bring out, and we're going to challenge him that way. And he's you know, been a tremendous competitor for us, but I know he's got another level in him, and we're going to challenge him that way. And we're really excited about CJ's coming back. And then, you know, Taylor Venz is just been a blessing to have on the team. He's had a lot of great moments for us, couple-time All-American for us, and Taylor wants to go out on top. And then Eric Schultz is a young man who was ranked number 2 in the country almost the whole year last year for us, and had a disappointment. One of those, you know, kind of, you know, Kansas basketball gets beat first round by Loyola Marymount, right? Kind of one of those things. And, you know, that was a heartbreaker for Eric. And so obviously he doesn't want to end his career that way. And you know, he's going to come back with a vengeance. And then Christian Lance, our heavyweight, he puts in so much time and commitment to our program, and for him to be, you know, the best in the country. He's got tough weight class in the, you know, Gable Stevenson, who could be an Olympic champion this year, and he's got 2 years of eligibility left from Minnesota, and Mason Parrish. So he's got a tough route, but Christian's really putting the work, and we're really excited about those 5 guys returning for us.
You know, the NCAA did a great thing by allowing the athletes the opportunity to come back if they wanted to come back, and I'm sure you thought, well, that's terrific. And then you get the word that everybody wants to come back, and then you've got some pretty good recruits already in the room and new people coming in and wanting to compete. And, you know, I've looked at your schedule in the past. I'm thinking maybe some of the best wrestling that we'll see in Nebraska is actually going to be in the wrestling room on the wrestle-offs to see who's going to be in the starting lineup when, you know, Iowa and Minnesota and all those teams come to town. I mean, you've got a pretty competitive room, and how good of a headache is that? Is that the best way to put it?
Well, you got to keep everyone happy, and
right.
And you know, they understand. I think here in our program, we've been fortunate to have, you know, really good leadership, but also they're good friends off the mat, and their competitors are in the room, and we ask that they give their whole heart, their whole effort, and their attitude to our program. And so really our next step for us 2 years ago was we finished second to Iowa, and last year we took third in our conference, a few points behind Penn State. And so we know we have to chase Penn State and Iowa down, and those they got a lot of guys coming back too. I think Iowa's got their entire team coming back, so we know there's a big challenge in front of us, and I think our guys are ready to embrace that challenge.
You had a couple of guys that clinched spots for the under-23 Wrestling World Championships this summer as well. Mikey coming off an All-American season, and then Peyton. What does, again, competing at this level, how does that prepare you for what you want to do at the NCAA level?
Yeah, great question, Jessica. Especially it's the tournament's in Serbia in early November. It's just an honor to be able to compete for Team USA and on any level, whether you make a junior world team or a university world team. Those opportunities to wrestle the best in the world just really broadens your perspective as an athlete and gives you a cultural experience too. And just I'm all about developing the whole athlete, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And so part of that is giving these guys opportunity to see the world and be the best at their craft. And so that's why they came to Nebraska, and Peyton and Mikey are two guys that Team USA are happy to have on their team, and they earned it, and it's really going to help them just step up a level in their game toward the NCAA tournament.
This is an Olympic month, actually, and we've been talking about that with Jordan Burroughs. Those guys who are competing in Serbia for the in the U23s and for United World Wrestling and all that, that's freestyle or it's Greco-Roman. The collegiate style of wrestling is different. So for those fans who are going to tune in to watch the Olympics from Tokyo here in just the next couple of weeks, what's the difference? What should they be looking for between what people see collegiately and then what they're used to when they go see the Huskers at Devaney and what they'll see with freestyle wrestling?
Yeah, great question, Bill. I think, the biggest thing is when you watch freestyle wrestling in the Olympic Games and the World Championships every year, compared to college style, is there's not a lot of riding time or anything like that. There's not as much emphasis on trying to get the pin. It's more get a takedown. Takedown's a takedown. 2 points is 2 points. But then turning them over, exposure, you can just flip the guy real quick and get 2 points, where in college you have to have a little bit more control. I can turn the guy and expose his back, but I have to hold him longer. Where in freestyle, I just flipped him, in a split second. I get rewarded that way. And so that's a big, freestyle is more closer to collegiate style, but there's some slight differences, push out, point, you can push out. So really it's about maintaining and taking control of the mat. And where Greco-Roman is more upper body, where I can't touch the guy's legs, I can't trip him, I can't use my legs to take him down. I have to take him down all from the waist up. And but we have some guys on our team that are really good Greco guys, but a lot of our guys are freestyle oriented, just because it's more parallel toward college style.
So
great question.
When a couple weeks ago, well, it was like my second week, for the Big Red Blitz, we weren't at the same spots, but we were on the plane that flew us all across Nebraska. And you were talking about trying to find a book for your team to read, which you do every summer. Did you come across a book that you were wanting them to read? And why you do that every year?
Yeah, I try to really challenge our guys just to think outside the box a little bit and just expand their mental capabilities of like a book, The Boys in the Boat. It's based on a true story in 1936 of a team from University of Washington who made the Olympic team in rowing. They were kind of more, I wouldn't say throwbacks, but they were a little bit more. They didn't come from the upper echelon, and they were more blue collar. And they just put it together and won an Olympic gold medal. And so things like that, Jessica, I really try to challenge our team just by reading things and what they thought. And, every guy's growing mentally at a different level. When the freshman thinks a little different than the senior.
Right.
And so you got to always challenge your guys. It's about I'm a big mental guy as far as from the standpoint that, you're never too young to win. And so challenging our guys to win at a young age and be able to picture yourself and, why not you? And have that attitude that it takes to be the best in the country and challenge them them to really step up and mentally develop as well as physical.
When did wrestling become a mental sport for you? I'm sure you probably started when you were 4 or 5 years old, and in cadets and juniors, and moved your way up. But at some point, you got to start. Wait a minute here. The guy across from me is also pretty good now. And, whether you're in UNO or you're high school, whatever the case might have been. But at some point, you got to start thinking your way through the sport. When does that process begin, and how do you teach that in a younger athlete who has the potential to be a champion?
Yeah, I think it's all maturity, a lot of maturity. I learned, because I grew up with 10 other brothers and sisters on a farm, and my dad just said, hey, you want to get up to the table? You better scrap to get up there, and you had to fight for everything you got. And so yeah, there was a lot of damaged furniture in our household, a lot of belts and stuff getting used on you. But no, it was a great learning experience as far as growing up with that many kids. But I think the mental thing kind of takes place by having good youth coaches and have good junior high coaches and good youth coaches. And then I think those guys really challenge young men to step their game up and challenge them at practice and challenging them in competition. And then, their love for the sport, whatever sport, was it football or playing 7-on-7. I have 2 young boys, 14 and 12, and they're doing 7-on-7. It's a great activity, but also hopefully they're getting something out of more than just, hey, my team won.
Yeah.
But it's more than that, and I think, there's so many good youth coaches and junior high and high school coaches out there that are going to challenge, student athletes, males and females, that they really learned how to step it up.
Coach Manning, we greatly appreciate your time. Great stuff. Always fascinating to chat with you. And make sure, Husker fans, if you're listening, go send off Jordan Burroughs. Again, that's coming up 8 o'clock tomorrow at the rail yard near Gate 25. Lots of fun stuff happening. Yep. One of the best to ever wear the uniform. Give them a proper send-off as they head to Philadelphia. Coach Manning, we appreciate your time, and we'll be back to wrap up the show next. Wrap up the hour next.
You're clear.
Shop with confidence
Quick
at
minute and a half
Woodhouse
break.
Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400
Yeah, quick segment,
with your Husker thoughts.
About like 2 minutes, probably. 2-3 minutes.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here, ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV.
You have about 2.5 minutes.
With over 100 new vehicles on our lot, with more arriving daily, we're sure to have
15.
something for you. From the Buick Encore to
That
our
was
heavy-duty
good.
trucks, we have the best selection available.
10
Find
away.
new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at woodhousechevy.com, or visit us
5.
at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying
2.
easier. This
1.
is Woodhouse.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the final segment of Hour 1 here on Sports Nightly. That's brought to you, as always, by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from NDOT Highway Safety Office. Man, lots to take away, lots to dive into. We got books to read, the mentality part of it, all kinds of things with Coach Manning.
You were wrapping that up, and I forgot we were doing a show. I thought we
Right?
were just
We
hanging
just
out talking to Mark Manning for
having a chit-chat.
25, 30 minutes. Yeah, what a great guy. And, he's not changed. I remember when he got hired 20 years ago. And he's just been the same steady guy. And you think, man, if there's somebody that you want piloting your program, and it's the guy like Mark Manning, just terrific in every aspect of life. And
you got to think with the guys he's got coming back that you just talked about, this could be a potential national championship team that could make a run, a deep run.
Should be a contender. 2 years ago, before the pandemic hit, I think people looked at that NCAA tournament thinking, Nebraska may be a team that could actually sneak in there and win it all, finish in the top 3. Thing gets canceled. Last year they had a couple upsets and unfortunately finished outside the top 10. But perennially, you just write Nebraska in that top 10, top 5 contender list, and what more do you want?
Okay, so hour number 1, that one flew by, courtesy of Coach Manning there. Coming up in hour 2, we've got Armand Gates here in studio. Talk about a ball of energy. Lots to talk about with him as the Nebraska men's basketball schedule has been released, the non-conference schedule. So give us a call, shoot us a text on our hotline 402-413-2400. And we also got some football to talk about.
1 minute.
Some preseason lists that have come out. Always fun to talk about in the summer as well. So it's been a fun show, and we got more to come. Keep it here on Sports Nightly with Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman.
You were clear.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
30 seconds. $20 seconds. $10 away. 5, 2, 1, anytime.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Coody. Here's tonight's headlines. The Nebraska men's basketball non-conference schedule released today, the 11-game slate, highlighted by 9 games inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. With the season opener set for Tuesday, November 9th against Western Illinois, the start of a 7-game season opening homestand. To go along with the matchups with Auburn and NC State previously announced, the Huskers also began a 3-year series with Kansas State on December 19th inside PBA. Nebraska Soccer announced the full schedule for the 2021 season. In addition to the 10 Big Ten games, the Huskers will also play 8 non-conference games. Nebraska will host 2 exhibition games, which will be free attendance to fans on August 11th and 13th. And the season will get underway with the opener against Western Illinois on August 19th inside Hibner Stadium. Nebraska track and field head coach Gary Pepin announced a new addition to the coaching staff today. Nikki Larch-Miller will serve as the multi-events coach. Larch-Miller comes most recently from Eastern Illinois, where she was the assistant track coach since 2019. The NBA Finals gets underway tonight between the Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks, 8 o'clock. It's about an hour away on ABC. The Bucks looking to claim their first title since 1971, while the Suns will be in pursuit of the first championship in franchise history. And U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson has been left off the Olympic roster. Released by USA Track and Field, the news coming after her win at the U.S. Olympic trials was nullified after a positive marijuana test. She was expected to compete for gold, but this means she will not be a part of the 4x100 meter relay coming up in Tokyo. And that's tonight's headlines.
You're clear.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game 1. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach is 8th save, and Nebraska takes game 1 of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome back to Hour 2 here on Sports Nightly. I am Jessica Coody, joined by Bill Dolman, again filling in for Greg Sharpe for the next couple of weeks while the voice is on vacation. Fun first hour, and coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes, we'll have men's basketball assistant coach Armand Gates here in studio. Lots of fun things to talk about with him. The schedule released today, but also summer workouts and working with Fred Hoiberg. A lot of things to get into with him. And we want you to get involved however you can. If you want to text, give us a call. The lines are open, 402-413-2400. The Sports Nightly Hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Well, Bill, the big news of the day, the non-conference schedule released for Nebraska men's hoops. We talked a lot about it in the first segment, but the big notables for you.
Auburn in Atlanta. I think that's great. Now, I know people need to be going to their mailbox here in the next couple of days because they're going to get their season ticket renewal form, and you're going to like what you see when you see the home schedule in the non-conference. But I think that that's a great opportunity for Nebraska to have a marquee matchup in a marquee city when people are starting to get revved up with college basketball. I think that's great. Takeaway number 2, I think it's great to have the Kansas State series, which begins 3 years. First game was going to be at Pinnacle Bank. So renewing a bit of a rivalry with Kansas State to the south, I think that's pretty healthy too. Got to be Creighton, for the love of God. Got to be Creighton as an alum, and North Carolina State. Those are 4 great marquee games for the non-conference.
So we're going to be talking lots of hoops coming up with Coach Gates, but I did want to throw football news out at you. The Pro Football Focus has released their top 50 players in college football. So not necessarily a certain number of positions or whatnot, just the top 50 players. And checking in at number 43 is Nebraska linebacker JoJo Domann. And we've seen some of the preseason all Big Ten list, and I think one did not have any Huskers on it. One had a couple. These don't really mean much, but always good to get some notoriety like that.
Yeah, and it's smart of them to get something out there in the early part of July when all the big magazines and publications haven't exactly hit the newsstands yet. So somebody's trying to stir the pot and get the conversation going and bringing in a little attention to themselves. And they know that if they do one thing positive or negative about Nebraska, they know that we'll talk about it. Okay, great. JoJo Domann deserves to be on there, but there's got to be a couple of more players that are at least in the top 50. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I could not believe even just on the, let me pull it up. Which one was it? Let me see which. It was the College Football News. They're all Big Ten preseason team. Not a single Nebraska player on that list. No Cam Taylor-Britt, no JoJo Domann, no Ben Stille, none of that. That, to me, is a travesty. Like, come on.
Yeah.
One of those players got to be on
Somebody's
that list.
Somebody's got to be good. The kicker, I mean, Connor Culp or somebody, let's give Nebraska a little bit of love. But, back in the day, it was a given that Nebraska would have, 5 or 10 players on a list like that. But anyway, that's how they stir the pot. That's how they get people talking about them. And that's how we, start talking about college football, which is what, 50, 60 days away from the first Nebraska's first game, and there's probably a couple of games that are going to be in maybe 6 weeks away.
3 weeks from this Friday is the start of fall camp for Nebraska, so it is right around the corner. But, again, this doesn't mean anything at all to these players. It gives us something to talk about. But notable on that top 50 list, you got to guess at who number 1 overall is.
Number 1, top 50
players in college football, according to Pro Football Focus.
Oh, boy. Well, Trevor Lawrence is gone, so that doesn't count.
The quarterback is on Nebraska's schedule this year.
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler is number 1.
Who is Spencer Rattler?
Hey, that'll
number 1 player in the country?
According to Pro Football Focus, that's what they got him listed as.
Well, now you would know better than I, and probably know better than them. I mean, if they're Pro Football Focus, you just came, from there. I mean, nice player, nice program, nice team, number 1 in the country. What's always amazing though is I'm not a big Heisman Trophy campaign guy, but you have all these people that get the pub in July and August, and somebody always emerges in September, October, November.
Right.
That was on nobody's radar whatsoever. And then people start talking about him in November like he's always been on the list. No, come on.
Yeah, and we'll dive into this a lot, I'm sure, as the Oklahoma game approaches. But they had some issues on the offensive line, and of course the defensive line here in Lincoln. I know Tony Tuioti is really excited about the depth and the talent that he's been able to build in that room. So it'll be some interesting topics to discuss.
Yeah.
Because it's week 2 for Oklahoma, and it's week 4 for Nebraska.
Week 2?
Yep. Second game for Oklahoma.
Really?
Yep.
Who do they open the season with?
Tulane.
Wow.
So, but a fun, we talked a lot about it last night, but, already hearing a lot of talk about it. It's going to be exciting for these fan bases to get to reunite.
I think that has to be one of the marquee games of the year, not just because it is Nebraska and Oklahoma, but Nebraska's got to be better. And I think there's probably some questions with Oklahoma. Yeah, it's down there. But I think, that game is going to have a lot of attention directed toward it, not just because it's the anniversary of the classic game from '71, but I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than some people are beginning to to talk about anyway.
Hey, looky there, Bill. We got our first phone call from Russ in Lincoln.
Does this
Russ?
mean I have to punch the button?
Yes. Do you know what you're doing over there?
All right, Russ.
Let's welcome in Russ into Sports Nightly. Russ, thanks so much for calling in.
Oh, go Big Red all the time, 24/7, 365. That's what it's about.
Love that.
I have a question. I have the question and a comment. I really want Eddie Stewart to end up here because with his foot down there in the Big 12 offices, I want him to take Nebraska back to the Oklahoma, Kansas State, et cetera rivalries and take us back to the Big 12. And I think he's the guy that can do it. This Big Ten, and I know everybody's talking about money. We'll make up the money. Nebraska starts winning, the money will start rolling in, period. So I want to hear about money. I just want to know what your thoughts are on that. I really want us back in the Big 12, and I think that's where we belong, and I want that Oklahoma every game, every year. And go Big Red, and thanks for taking my call.
Russ, thanks so much for calling in. Bill?
I punched the right buttons. You know, for Ed Stewart, from my estimation, it would be the second most important job, should he take that job, if that job is offered. Second most important position that he would have ever had at the University of Nebraska. The first being when they moved him from defensive back to linebacker in 1991 or 92 and transformed Nebraska's defense. That was the most important position that he has had as a Husker. Whatever he does for his career from now on, he helped transform Nebraska's defenses in the early 90s into what they became in the mid-90s when Nebraska won 3 national championships. Should have been 4, could have been 5, and went 60-3. So whatever Ed Stewart does in his career from here on out, I'm all for him. But thank you, Ed, for being willing to make that shift from defensive back to linebacker to transform the defenses for Charlie McBride and company. That was really well done, and nice job. Good on you, right?
And the Big 12, thoughts on the Big 12?
You know, look, I'm a Big 8 guy by birth. I was around for the Big 12 when all that went down and covered the Big 12 and Nebraska was in it. But, you know, what was going on 10 years ago in college athletics and when Nebraska made the move to the Big 10, people need to really kind of go back in time and remember what it was like. And there was so much uncertainty in college athletics and around Nebraska and around the Big 12. And, you know, the powers that be made the decision that at the time was best for Nebraska financially, in terms of stability, and there wasn't a lot of stability with the Big 12 in 2010. And I can remember, I was in the Mountain West Conference, and every single scenario that played out on a daily basis for 2 years involved the Mountain West. And there were days, I kid you not, when people would say, Nebraska may end up in the Mountain West. Kansas basketball may end up in the Mountain West. That's how shaky the foundation was in the Big 12 at that time. I think it has solidified, but at that time, 10 years ago, there were so many scenarios playing out that were out there, and Nebraska and the powers that be did what they thought that they had to do to provide some stability for Nebraska.
And Russ made a comment about wanting to have that Oklahoma game every year. If Nebraska goes back into the Big 12, you'd have to bring in another team, and then do you have to go back to divisions? I don't know, you know, like, is there a guarantee that Oklahoma and Nebraska would even still play every year?
That's another good question. You know, that didn't happen when the Big 12 was formed in the mid-1990s.
So we got to give somebody the boot, I guess.
The decision was made that we're not going to have that rivalry game, and that was unfortunate back then. It was unfortunate for 20 years, or 15 years, or whatever it was. But, yeah, you know, I think that there may not be the seismic shift in collegiate athletics in 2 or 3 years, but I think we're going to see another round of realignment in some way, shape, or another, especially when TV contracts start to come up, the NCAA with NIL, and will the Power Five start to have its own type of governance? You know, there could be some things that shake out that will be pretty interesting.
Well, will give us something to talk about until then, but we have got to take a quick break because we've got to get Armand Gates in here talking all things Nebraska hoops. This is Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Keep it here. We got more from Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman and Jessica Coody coming up next.
Clear. For a long time.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Experience the highest levels of luxury at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. Our dedicated sales team is ready to guide you to your perfect vehicle. With a lineup of unique crossovers and SUVs, Lincoln offers insightful technologies, connectivity, and interior amenities, while you experience the highest sales satisfaction among all luxury brands. Visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's Best Value Colleges, and the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
And we welcome you back to Sports Nightly alongside Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. We've been talking about the non-conference schedule, hot off the press today. Lots of marquee games on there. So we thought we'd bring in a guy that might know a little bit about that. Armand Gates entering his 4th season with the Huskers. And, well, first of all, before we get to that, you walked in here. People can't see it, but you got a cane. They might have seen it on Twitter. You sprained your ankle hooping with the guys the other day.
I sure did. And I was in the boot for 2 days,
And then the trainers told me, hey, get out the boot. But the 4th of July festivities, I wanted to put it back in that boots just to stabilize everything. But yesterday I took home the Doc's cane that the guys bought him for his birthday. And I told my kids and my wife right away, I said, hey, my new name is not Dad, but it's Big Daddy Kane. So with the cane right here, they call me Big Daddy Kane.
So will this deter you from playing pickup with the guys from here on out?
Oh yeah. It definitely it made me realize, hey, you're not this young guy anymore. you need to hang them up a little bit. But no, I'll still get out there with them. Seriously, you still get out there.
Well, when you're out there with the guys, what kind of team have you seen that you're putting together at this stage of the summer as we get into the fall?
Well, it's so early. We got the guys right now. It's early because you see them look at the coaching staff, questioning them themselves and their abilities because we're throwing so much at them, especially the new guys, Bryce McGowan's and Q, and a lot of those guys. If they make a mistake, they think the world's over. Like, they have to realize that you're going to bounce back. You're going to bounce back. It's a next play. So we're trying to instill in them that next play mentality and not to worry about trying to be perfect because you're human. And most of these guys, they're here to impress us right away. But you have to remind them, hey, it's July. It's July. Don't try to rush back from an injury or anything like that. This is the time to get better. In the weight room is really where we're seeing a lot of strides.
That leads to this question here. What can you do with them right now? Because I think most people think, well, they're going to get on campus, for the start of school, and then at some point it's the first day of practice, but yet they've been working out with them for weeks and months at a time. So what do the rules say that you can do with a basketball team in July? Well,
you know what? You can do pretty much anything. It's a 4-hour a week on the court, and then also they get 4 hours in the weight room a week. So what we do, we're installing our system. So our system defensively is very intricate, and also the offense is an NBA offense, and that's considered being intricate as well. And that's when I told you guys we got guys, looking around, upset that they forgot this play or forgot to be at the nail spot on the court defensively. It's so much going with our schemes that it's going to be like that, and it takes reps. So right now, all we're doing is installing our system and trying to tweak a little bit that fits our guys. We give them certain things to do, but if we say, hey, we want you to trap this ball screen, but our big isn't able to trap that ball screen, then as coaches we have to go back and look at that film and we make adjustments. So that's the part we're in right now.
You were kept on when Coach Hoiberg was hired. What's it been like working with him, kind of learning his system? Obviously, he came from the NBA, just kind of learning how he does things and implementing his system.
Oh man, you know what? I've been a sponge since day one, since he got the job. And not only from him, but also from Doc Sadler and Bobby Lutz last year. But Bobby Lutz, he just wanted to do different things this year. But now he brought in Nate Linzer, who worked with him with the Bulls as well. So these guys, man, they've been around the game for so long that I would be, to say it without putting sugar on top, I would be an idiot if I just tried to step in and try to talk over them and not just listen and take it all in, because they've been around it for years. I mean, again, got two head coaches on staff. Nate, who's going to be a future head coach as well. Myself, I have those aspirations, so that's why I promise it's like my head is a sticky note, because I'm writing down notes every single in my head. But sometimes it's like, man, I can't remember this stuff, so I need to go to get a pen and have a manager write this stuff down. But no, it's been phenomenal, man. Fred is an unbelievable offensive mind, and again, I'm just blessed to be with this staff.
How important is it to have chemistry and camaraderie amongst the staff for you guys to get along? Because everybody talks about, we want to make sure that we foster that with our players. We want our players to get along, and you need to have that team chemistry. I think Nebraska fans saw that with the baseball team, the season that just ended. Those guys all seem to get along, and the same with the staff. When you have Doc, who's been with Fred before, Nate, who's been with Fred before, you've been around now for 3 or 4 years. How do you do that, and how important is that for the players to sense that in you guys, that they can have that on the floor as well.
You know, that's extremely important because you have to practice what you preach, and we preach accountability and being a great teammate all the time. And if our players are smart, I mean, they can see it either through social media or how you interact with each other. And if we preach one thing and don't, you know, preach and don't do it on our own, then at the end of the day, they're going to think we're full of it. You know, so you have to hold yourself to that standard as well. It's just about the culture. You know, that's part of the culture. You want to treat each other equal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a guard, if you're the worst player, if you're big and you can't shoot the ball. No, the expectations are the same. You know, you be there on time. You treat each other with respect. You just go out of your way to be a great teammate. I mean, all those things. It's just about how you were raised. You know, just be a great person. And but to answer your question, that's extremely important for those guys to see the camaraderie of the staff, you know, gel, and hopefully that bleeds over to them.
A lot of people are excited about the newcomers, but you got a big nucleus coming back. What kind of buy-in did you kind of see from some of those guys, especially towards the end of the season, going into the off season, now that they're kind of getting familiar with how things are going with you guys? You know what, our core who came back, they've done a tremendous job so far this summer, holding each other accountable. That's what we've been preaching all year. We weren't happy about, you know, the first 2 years of our tenure here, and those guys, they don't like to lose, and they know what to expect in this Big Ten. It's an unbelievable, tough league, and our guys know what to expect now. You know, we had a transfer from Western Illinois, Kobe Webster, Pitt, you know, which is the ACC, which is the, you know, if you really want to look at it, Big Ten, ACC, it teeters up and down who's number one in, you know, each year. You know, Trevor coming from Division II. So it was a culture shock at first, but I think those guys know what to expect now. And again, this off season, they have not taken it for granted at all. In the weight room, again, this is the time they're getting stronger in the weight room so their bodies can sustain the rigorous Big Ten schedule and also the non-conference schedule that we have, you know, coming in store for us.
Well, that leads right into it.
Yes.
You finally got to tell these guys, all right, this is why we're working this summer, because this is who you're going to get to play. And when they see Auburn, North Carolina State, you've got Creighton every year, and as an alum, I need to talk to you about that. And you've got, you know, some pretty marquee games that are on the slate before you get into Big Ten play, which is a marquee game every night. But how important was it for the guys to finally see, all right, this is what we have in front of us, and we know we're going to have fans in the stands when they open the doors for PBA?
No, you know what? Our guys, they get so excited about that non-conference, and they want to play the best of the best. And from a coach's perspective, I'm like, hey, coach, let's just schedule some wins, man. We just need wins because, you know, because and the reason why I say it, the Big Ten strength of schedule is so ridiculous that, you know, you want to prepare your team for that stage, but you also want to have some confidence leading into that slate, into that Big Ten slate, because the Big Ten is a rigorous schedule. You beat each other up, and we saw that in the NCAA tournament this year. You know, we had a ton of teams in that top 25, and they just beat each other up. By the time they got to the tournament, they were just beat down, you know, injuries that hurt Michigan. And, I mean, just you can go down the line with those teams. Illinois going down early. But to be honest with you, the non-conference, our guys are excited about it. Again, we have Auburn, we have the Gabbett games, and we also have that Big Ten, the ACC Challenge. That's enough right there. That's enough right there. And, you know, as a staff, if you ask Doc Sadler and myself, and even maybe Abdel Massey, and Nate's coming from the NBA, but we want those wins right now, and because we know how tough it's going to be in that Big Ten conference slate. So at the end of the day, our guys are excited about it, and we want to challenge them. But we all know that it's about what you do in that conference play.
You got to love that 7-game homestand to open up the season. You've been several places. How about the support that you guys get night in and night out? You got to be excited to be able to play in PBA for 7 games in a row to start the season.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, PBA and Husker Nation is second to none. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. It's for sure top 3 in the conference, atmosphere-wise. Our fans, they don't understand. They their ability to show up and be loud and to, you know, blow the roof off that place and to heckle the opponents, that equates to probably 5 more wins, you know, and nobody think of it that way throughout the course of the year.
5 wins could be a difference in a lot of things.
It could be a big time difference, and maybe it's more than 5 wins, but I'm telling you, it equates to a lot of dubs because those opposing players, they aren't used to, you know, those fans just from top to bottom in their ears and just cheering loud for the Huskers. And again, we have a lot in store with this roster. I think we're gonna have PBA, you know, ready, just rocking and rolling, because we got some exciting talent to step on that floor, and we have a lot of good camaraderie. And as long as we continue to gel, which we're seeing that as a staff right now, if we continue to gel as we continue to build this thing this year, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you guys look back at all on last season? 7 wins, we all know, but it was such an odd year for everybody in the country, everybody in the world, really. But how much do you take away from last season, looking ahead to this year? How much do you just completely put it behind and say, look, that was just an anomaly for everybody. We know what we have. Don't worry about it. We know that we're on the right track for what we want to do and the kind of schedule that we have put together.
You know what? As a coaching staff, we try to reiterate this to our players. We want them to forget about last year, but we also want it to sting in their belly a little bit. We want them to understand, like, this is not what we're here for. We're here to win, and we're here to win championships. And I'll be remiss if I don't say this right now. Coach Abdel Massey's done an unbelievable job recruiting. He's been bringing in a ton of talent. Once he get these kids here on campus, you know, we do a great job as a staff. The support staff does an unbelievable job just making the families feel comfortable. And to get back to that, remind me what you just saying.
It was just about the 7 wins last
year.
Do you dwell on that?
Yes.
Do you instill it, or do you just say, like, it was an anomaly for everybody?
No, absolutely. And again, we talk about it after every practice. If practice goes up and down, coach will stop practice and he'll remind the guys, hey fellas, we're not having that this year. Last year, you know, we did some losing things. That's not happening this year. So we remind those guys a ton, but most of those returners, I'm telling you, they have it stuck in their belly right now, and because they want to feel it. They want to go back to that. Once they get comfortable again, I bring it up. Every coach bring it up. The GAs, the managers, even the managers walk around the office talking about it. And that's how we're not gonna handle things like that.
I do remember toward the end of last season, though, Nebraska was that team going into and toward the end of the season that really don't want to play them. Things were going reasonably well. You look good on the court. There was some momentum. It was like, that's the team that we really don't want to play right now.
Taking teams to the wire.
And that's what we're getting to. Those guys, and that's what Fred continues to show. We show film almost as often as we can. Just successful plays. Just successful plays so they can understand the simple play is the most successful play. We don't need to hit that home run all the time, and that's what we got to towards the end of the year. Simple play, make the extra pass, make your open jump shot. It's that simple. You know, with the spacing, the pace that we play with. Again, that's the NBA terminology and the NBA style that Fred brought in from the NBA. He brought it here. It's phenomenal for the college game. And those guys that we have, they bought into it, and they're going to continue to buy into it. Now we have to get the newcomers on board with the space instead of running towards. You know how in camp you'll get those little kids running towards a ball and trying to ball, pass it. That's what guys want to do, but when we teach that spacing, it creates driving angles in every different direction on every different pass. So our guys, they're starting to get, the new guys, they're starting to get a hang of it, and the newcomers are doing, I mean, the older guys, they're doing an unbelievable job bringing those guys in and putting them under their wing.
How much has that played into recruiting? Getting guys that, hey, we got an NBA system here that you're going to learn how to play in and hopefully get you to the next level.
Oh, big time, and that's our big sale that we have here. We sell PBA, we sell the Husker Nation, and we sell Fred Hoiberg, being a former NBA player and also his NBA style. Every kid that you talk to that we recruit, everyone wants to be a pro. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them wants to make an NBA team. And that right there, we show them film we show them who they're comparable to in the NBA, and we also show them how we're going to put them in those same positions to be successful here at Nebraska.
You're the first coach we've been able to have on since NIL came down. What's that kind of done for you guys as a staff and recruiting? Have you seen that pay off the way that Nebraska kind of embraced it for so long before it kind of all became official on July 1st? What's that kind of done for you guys as a staff?
You know what? It's given us a lot more to think about in terms of making sure our guys handle it the right way, because there's so many nuances that can go along with this, with the NIL. So we just been educating our guys mostly, to be honest with you. But we also been selling it to our guys and to recruits. You know, hey, with Husker Nation, you got an opportunity to make some money. You know, a good amount of money as well. Because there are some NBA guys right now, pros, in every sport. NHL, you can go to whatever, it could be cornhole, I don't care what it is. You can go to cornhole, whatever you want to call it. They struggle getting those sponsors and getting, making money off their names. You know, they struggle with that. So we tell our guys to just be realistic. You know, everyone's not going to make a ton of money, but we will try to put you in a situation to make that money.
I'm sure you've talked to your brethren out there, other coaches, head coaches and whatnot at other schools, and you've probably talked about it.
Absolutely.
And they said, what are you guys doing in Nebraska? And you tell them, where is Nebraska in terms of in a leadership position? Are the schools as well prepared? Are you finding out what other schools are doing?
So talking to my the other coaches in this coaching fraternity, we're ahead of the game. We're ahead of the game with the open doors. You know, we've done a lot of research. Thankful to our administration here in the athletic department. They've done a good job putting our student athletes in a great position, and that's what it's all about. Just putting those student athletes in a great position to be successful and to get what they earn. You know, we want them to be successful, and we want to show them the right way to do things, not only on the court but off the court. You know, with these sponsorships that the name, image, and likeness, you have to handle yourself in a upward manner, or guess what? That contract could be ripped right up right away. You know, we've seen that happen with a lot of pro athletes, you know, off the court or off the field issues, and guess what? That sponsorship is gone. Mm-hmm. You know, Coca-Cola, Sprite, and I'm obviously not going to name any athletes, but everyone knows those professional athletes that's lost those sponsorships.
I think we've already kept you longer than I promised, but NBA Finals coming up tonight. Are you paying attention? How are you feeling about the matchup?
Let's go. I'm telling you, we talk about it all day in the office and on the court with the players. After practice, when it's cool down time, we get the guys to shoot their free throws after practice just to stay on top of the free throw game. It's just little topics, but we have a good mixture of, a lot of guys going for the Suns. They want to see CP3 win one.
Everybody does.
I feel like you got to be a Chris Paul fan.
You know what? I really am. I really am a Chris Paul fan, and it's up in the air. It's up in the air with Giannis. I just don't know how he's going to come back. But at the end of the day, Coach Gates is going with the Phoenix Suns, 100%. and I'm gonna try to call it right now. I'm gonna say in 6.
That's what I was gonna say.
6 games.
Phoenix in 6.
Hey, we think the same.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. And how about yourself? What are you thinking?
I'm more concerned about Nebraska and Creighton. I told you as an alum, I want to talk about that rivalry and not so much the Bucks and the Suns. All right, but I tell people I just don't understand how it is that it's been that way, but. As somebody who was, I worked in the NBA a little bit, and for Chris Paul to be where he was with the Clippers,
absolutely,
and to be so close with that team that was so good for so long, and then just kind of fade away for a little bit, and to come back with a team that was the dregs of the NBA 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
4 years ago.
There's no doubt
Don't
about
say he
it.
faded away. Come on, I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan over here.
Hey, there you go. Stand up for him.
He was in Houston too with my Rockets, and, and it was kind of like, what happened? That was a wasted year.
Right.
But I think anybody who's a fan of the NBA and appreciates what he's meant to the game, I think that's the guy that has the heartstrings. But Giannis is a great pro too. I think
absolutely.
He's been wonderful for the league, and that's why this finals with Milwaukee and Phoenix,
for sure,
not L.A., New York, or Boston, and all these big cities. Come on,
no one's seen it coming, and I'm extremely happy. And we're talking about CP3. CP3 was with Coach Monty, and I believe it was in New Orleans. I believe at one point he coached CP3 there, and there was a picture on Twitter saying, this is how they started and where it's at now. So it was Chris Paul at a young age, and you could see Monty with no gray hair, and now with where they are now, Monty with gray hair and Chris Paul just looking more like a vet, like he's just been through a war, and he's earned it, man. His really good buddies have won it, LeBron and D Wade, those guys have won. So I think it's time for him to go ahead and win one. And Monty Williams,
wonderful man,
everything that he went through with his family, so
that's the ultimate.
That's why I had to bring that up for Monty.
You're right.
I'm excited for him.
Well, Armand Gates, great stuff. Appreciate you coming on, talking all things hoops with us. So we'll let you get out of here, but best of luck, and hopefully you get off that cane soon.
I mean, I'm a lot of my colleagues. They're going to be on the road. They're going to make a little fun of me a little bit, walking around with the boot and the cane. But I'm gonna make sure my family continues to call me Big Daddy Kane around the house. And I thought we was going to talk Creighton, but I guess I get to get out of here and run up out of the studio.
Well, we're running out of time. We got to take a commercial break, but we appreciate your time, and we got more from Sports Nightly coming up next.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef, raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams. Help! Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
One, anytime.
Winding down hour number 2 very quickly here on Sports Nightly. We got a couple quick segments, so we have time to take a couple quick calls and text messages on our hotline, 2400. The Sports Nightly Hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Armand was awesome. I mean, he had me hype after that interview.
Well, one of the texters says, great interview with Armand. So pumped for Husker hoops. How can you not be after hearing that? That guy's just...
That's Mike in Kansas, by the way.
Talk about a guy with charisma. You know, and it's pretty clear that, and he's even said, I want to be a head coach someday. Oh my gosh, he'll be a great head coach and a great leader of any program. So it's great to have him around and get his perspective.
Look, we got a couple of calls in. So, Mike, we appreciate your text. Keep them coming.
All right.
Bill, you got this?
All right, going to give it a shot. Central Nebraska. Doesn't have a name, but hi, Central Nebraska.
I think we have Tim and who we got on right now? Somebody there?
See, this is what happens when you have me punching the buttons. All right, should we go with Tim?
Let's go with Tim.
All right, Tim, are you there?
Tim in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
Well, first of all, trying to make use of my time here. Bill, I don't know if you remember, but knew you from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Tim
a long
Locks.
time ago when, that is right.
I recognize that voice.
Gave away my first and last name, but that's okay. Actually got married a few years ago up in Minnesota now.
Congratulations.
So I still thank you. I'm still follow. Things have been kind of up and down, but still following the Huskers up here though.
Way to go.
So it's good to hear your voice during this time. But actually, I wanted to use this opportunity while Jessica kind of has the thunder to pick your brain just a little bit about the Sooners. Since you're talking about them, I grew up with that Nebraska-Oklahoma rivalry, and so I'd like to know just kind of the feeling about Lincoln Riley, your opinion of him. You know, it's going to be important for Nebraska to be ready because, you know, regardless of how elite the Sooners might be this year, Nebraska's going to have to be ready. I think they've got a shot to be, but just kind of curious. I'm not really sure about the quarterbacks and the defense, but obviously I remember all those years, and it's just fun to see what Nebraska-Oklahoma still is, even though we probably get to play, you know, a rivalry built on respect. Obviously, there's quite a bit of tension back in the years. I even had a friend who went to school with me in western Nebraska who was from Oklahoma, who was there for about 2 years, and we'd always go back and forth. So just I haven't really known what to make of Lincoln Riley because I was very impressed with Stoops, and obviously Barry Switzer was who he was. So I'd like to pick your brain a little bit about especially the Sooners in football.
Yeah,
right.
we
Tim,
appreciate your call, Tim. It's going to be a fun matchup. You know, obviously we know Oklahoma has put one of the top offenses in the country every year since Lincoln Riley came in as offensive coordinator. He's got a brain that, they talk about him drawing up plays on the board. He locates matchups that he can exploit on the field. But I like this Nebraska defense. I've been doing a lot of research and studying and game film. We've been doing some interviews. And so, you know, with everybody coming back, that bodes well, right? When you got every starter coming back on defense, that's a good thing for a team.
And attitude. And I think that's a game.
Let's break.
Depending on how good Oklahoma's offense is, if Nebraska's defense can keep that offense off the field, and if Nebraska holds on to the football, that game's going to be a lot closer than people are picking at this point. Nebraska's defense is going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Think that's the bottom line.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, but Jason is on the line. If you'll hold on, we'll get to you on the other side of this break before we wrap things up here in hour number 2. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Clear.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive?
Yeah, about 3 minutes.
Your
We're back.
kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here, ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV. And with over 100 new vehicles on our lot with more arriving daily, we're sure to have something for you. From the Buick Encore to our heavy-duty trucks, we have the best selection available. Find new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChevy.com or visit us at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying easier. This is Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Back in a minute.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at WoodhouseFord.com.
10 away.
Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today.
5.
At Woodhouse Ford in Blair,
2,
Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
1. Anytime.
And welcome back to this final segment here on Sports Nightly. Alongside Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut the answer short on Oklahoma. We are just running short on time, but we'll have lots of time to talk about that. It's going to be an exciting matchup to talk about as the season quickly approaches. We got time to take one final call. Jason's been holding on the line from Lincoln. Jason, thanks for calling in.
You bet, Jessica. Welcome to Lincoln. Good to have you.
Thank
Bill,
you.
You bet. Hey, Bill, you remember when back in the day when we had things rolling, Francis Allen, Danny Nee, Tom Osborne, in the athletic department, Jessica probably remembers some of these names. We also had, the Papicks and the Bargans and the, on, and Boyd Epley and, of course, Devaney, and he handed it off to Bill Byrne. And it seems like the athletic department really needs some of those behind-the-scenes people to be strong, and we do have plenty of them. But, man, we were spoiled back in the day, Bill. And I think John Cook, I'll listen off the air. I think John Cook will be the best AD going forward. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call.
Jason, thank you. One of the great things about that time at Nebraska in the 80s and in the 90s, which I was fortunate to kind of be around.
2 minutes.
There was such a camaraderie and cohesiveness and family atmosphere. A lot of that trickled down from Coach Osborne and his integrity and his character, the man he was. Bill Byrne brought in a perspective from Oregon that I think was unexpected and welcomed, and brought Nebraska from the 60s and 70s and into the 90s and 2000s, and all of a sudden Nebraska was at the forefront of doing things in collegiate athletics that nobody else was doing. But there was just such an atmosphere here that people were willing to work 24/7, 365, because there just was that feeling of importance, that what we were doing was important and everybody was important. And it was a really neat place to be. And if you can capture that, you can have great success and attract a lot of great people and get it going again.
I got to tell you, I've loved the vibes around here since I've been here for the last month. Just everybody's been so welcoming and excited and positive around here. I think there's big things to come for Nebraska.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
1 minute.
pieces in place right now that I think to be excited about.
And there's a really big piece that's going to be in place just off to my left, your right, with the new facility that's going in. So a lot of exciting things to watch be built, to watch grow. I'm excited for the enthusiasm the athletes have for this NIL possibility and all that Nebraska is doing for them, that they're not out there by themselves trying to figure that out, that Nebraska's embracing that with them, and here's what we're going to do for you. And yeah, there have been some lean days over the last couple of decades and growing pains with the Big Ten, but eventually that all starts to come around. And when you invest in the people,
20.
the projects and all that, There'll be some success. And they brought Jessica Coody on board. How much
Hey.
better is that?
Go Big Red. I'm loving being here. Hey, what a fun show. It flew by. We had to fly through those last two segments. We appreciate the callers and the texts. Keep them coming. We'll be back tomorrow. Bill Dolman's here for the next couple of weeks in for Greg Sharpe, and I'm Jessica Coody. Thanks to Mike Elliott
Hit us
over
up
there
on the
behind
text
the board.
line. Text
And
402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech